Welcome to the Australian Sailing Rescue tutorial for windfoiling. Foiling is rapidly growing at clubs across the country. With this growth come extra safety precautions that you need to be aware of, especially when acting in close proximity to the equipment or in rescue situations. With many of the foiling classes, the sailors are generally used to being in the water and self-sufficient. Both Learn to Kite and Learn to Wing courses place a high importance on self-rescue. However, there are still plenty of times where your club's safety personnel and coaches may need to provide assistance. There are some general principles that do need to be adhered to when working with all the foiling classes. Before we get started on each specific discipline, let's go over a few of the things you do need to be aware of when it comes to foiling equipment. The foils are sharp and fragile. Avoid touching any part of the foil or mast to prevent contamination, especially the very sharp trailing edges. Don't kick your legs around when in the water next to a foil or board. Always rest the foil on the ground and on a soft surface when it is attached to a board. Never turn your board over when launching until there is sufficient water to prevent grounding. This includes allowing for sinkage when you stand on the board. When returning to shore, do not run the foil aground. Step or jump off in sufficiently deep water safely. Never place foils near the sails in the boat park, and avoid putting a kite foil downwind of a kite. Ask for help to attach the rig to the board if you are in danger of resting the foil on hard or sharp surfaces. Simply put, damage or contamination to a foil can actually increase the chance of an unsafe crash and injury to the sailor. When coaching from a rib, it is important that you have the standard safety equipment as normally required. However, when coaching foil classes, there is extra equipment that you may want to consider. Always ensure that you have life jackets and a kill cord, your standard first aid kit, radio or other appropriate form of communication fully charged, tourniquets and an inflatable boot. A good example of this is the first aid kits that are carried by the NACRA class. Today we're going to cover 3 scenarios that you will likely encounter while coaching foiling classes. The first scenario is going to be for general assistance, either for communication or coaching purposes. The second scenario is where the sailor is injured and may require first aid or to be detached from their equipment. And the third scenario is a situation where there has either been gear failure or the breeze has dropped, and the sailor will require assistance to get themselves and their equipment back to port. Make verbal or visual communication with the sailor before approaching. Approach slowly from upwind, making sure that the harness is released from the boom. Pull the kill cord on your boat to ensure the engine cuts out. Grab the boom and assist the sailor to come on board. Ensure the board and sail are safely secured before chatting to the sailor. Follow the same steps to approach the sailor. Once you have the sailor alongside your boat, ensure they stay standing upright with the rig upright also. Hold the mast or the boom close to the mast only. Ensure the sailor doesn't generate power and pass them the tow line. Have the sailor loop the rope 3 times around the front of the boom. Use minimum 10 meters of tow line. Hold rope just behind the end to keep tightness. When the sailor is ready, go into gear and feed out the line to ensure it doesn't snag on the propeller. Do not drive at speeds more than 6 knots to prevent foiling. Secure the sail on the boat by laying it down across the back of the rib. With the sailor sitting on the front of the rib next to the board, have them hold the sail and the board, ensuring that it doesn't roll over or become unbalanced. If the board becomes unbalanced or starts to roll, slow down or stop to regain control of the board. If you think a sailor might need assistance, do not hesitate to go help. Approaching from upwind, come alongside the sailor and pull your kill cord. Check if the sailor is okay. If they require assistance and need to be brought on board, make sure you're pulling them into a part of the boat that is nice and clear. Ideally, they will be on the board and you can actually pull them onto the side of the rib. Grab the sailor from the back of the harness and bend your knees to ensure that you protect yourself and the sailor while pulling into the boat. Assist the sailor to get into the boat. Ensure there is a clear space in your boat at all times to aid with first aid or other situations. Approach the sailor. Once the sailor is on board the boat, have them lay the rig away from the vessel. Disconnect the mast from the board and help the sailor to bring on board. Ensure the mast is down inside the cockpit of the boat with the trailing edge in the air. Have the sailor manoeuvre themselves and the board to the other side of the boat. Help the sailor to tip over the board, ensuring the foil tips away from the boat. Bring the board inside the vessel, sliding the board just inside the tube of the rib. Start making your way back to the beach and ensure that none of the gear gets out of control or loose as you go. If you have any more questions or queries about the content that you have seen today, please get in contact with your General Manager.